Hey everybody, let's take a look at your assignment for today. First, you're going to be working on a vocabulary assignment. In the word bank, you're going to see some vocabulary words related to working with fractions. The words in the word bank are denominator, equivalent, fraction, improper fraction, mixed number, numerator, proper fraction, benchmark, greatest common factor, least common denominator, like fractions, and decimal. You may be more familiar with some of these terms than others, and that's okay. This is meant to be an assessment of what you already know and what you need to work on for me. So just do the best you can to match up each word with the clues. So for example, for one across, the clue is the number below the line in a fraction that tells the total number of parts in a whole. So for this, we want to focus in on the idea, the number below the line in a fraction. Which number is below the line in a fraction? The bottom number. That's right, it's the denominator. So you would add the word denominator, which is here, to number one across, denominator. Now, I know completing a crossword puzzle on Kami might be difficult. If it's easier for you just to write or type the word next to the clue instead of trying to add it to the crossword puzzle, that's fine with me. You can pretty much complete this activity in whatever way is easiest for you based on the technology that you're using. So like I said, if it's easier for you to just pull up a Word doc and type the clue and then type the word next to it and email it to me, do that. For the next section, this is the part I'm kind of more focused on. And this is where I'm really curious to see your thinking and your problem solving. It's a series of challenges using fractions for you to figure out. The Javits Gazette is asking for your help in designing the layout for the front page news items. The news stories and the space they need on the front page are listed below. So you're going to be designing a newspaper layout using your knowledge of fractions. So for the first section, it tells you that you're going to need 1/6 of the page for continued coverage about the construction of a new shopping mall in town. You're going to need 1/4 of the page for a story about a 5th grader winning a community service award for raising $5,000 to feed the homeless. You're going to need 3/8 of the page for a protest article about the use of cell phones by students in schools. You're going to need 1/12 of the page about a story about a new local rock band hosting a free concert in town. The remaining space on the page, meaning whatever is left over, is devoted to an article about an upcoming local election. Question A asks you to figure out what fractional part of the front page was devoted to the story about the upcoming local election. So your answer should be in fraction form, and it should represent the remaining space that is left over after you account for all of these other news items. Notice that it requires you to show your work. So if you are going to draw an area model to show how you figured out what fraction was left, or equations, or write sentences to show your thinking. Part B tells you to create a front page design for the Javits Gazette and draw a sketch of it in the space below. Include grid lines to indicate or show the amount of space taken up by each news item. Show you have found the correct amount of space for all the news items on the front page. Now, if I were doing this assignment, I would actually start with this first and then do part A. So here we have an area model already created for you, and you can use this area model to allocate space for each news item. So notice, first of all, how many equal pieces your area model has been divided into. It's a 6x4 array, so that means there's 24 equal pieces here. How could you show what 1/6 of the 24 equal pieces would be? Once you figure out what 1/6 of 24 is, then you know that's how much space you need for continued coverage about the construction of a new shopping mall in town. So that's section 1 already done for you. Next, you'll need to figure out what 1/4 of 24 is. Once you know what 1/4 of 24 is, then you know how many squares you'll need for a story about a 5th grader winning a community service award for raising $5,000 to help to feed the homeless. So this is just an example of how I would approach the problem. I'm not going to talk any more about it because I want to see how you would do it. This is meant to be a challenging assignment for you to do. Since we're doing it at the beginning of our unit on fractions, it'll give me information about how quickly I should go when it comes to our lesson. So do your best and have fun.